Imagine this. A mother vanishes from a Target parking lot. Keys in the ignition, purse still there. Then, 11 years go by. Silence.
And then she reappears.
Right. But not alone. She has a baby with her.
Mm-hmm.
And her return just detonates everything for the family she left behind.
It's an incredible premise, and it's central to the book we've been exploring, When She Returned.
Absolutely. And before we really get into the thick of it, just a quick mention, we have our YouTube channel featuring mindful moments. These are AI-powered looks at books, really designed to spark your own thoughts, encourage critical thinking about these kinds of complex stories.
A great way to explore further. So back to the story. 11 years ago, Kate vanishes. Arcata, California. No trace.
And her husband, Scott, he has to raise their daughter, Abby. He fills her childhood with stories about Kate.
Yeah, building her up almost like a legend based on these memories. And there's this favorite photo by a waterfall they always look at.
You really see how her absence just shaped their entire lives. Scott ends up in a bereavement group, even without knowing for sure what happened.
Which really highlights the grief, that ambiguity. And building Kate up like that, while understandable, it sets the stage for a huge shock later.
Then the call comes, the one they probably stopped expecting.
Mm-hmm. Kate's been found alive in Montana.
Wow. So Scott has to go get her. That journey, can you imagine 11 years of questions just hanging in the air?
It must be incredibly tense, driving towards this reunion, not knowing what you'll find.
And then the police drop another piece of information.
Right, the baby.
Kate has a baby with her. That immediately throws everything into a different light, doesn't it? Much darker possibilities start creeping in.
Absolutely. It's not just where was she anymore. It's what happened. Who is this child? It suggests a whole other life she lived.
So the first meeting, it's at some kind of facility, very controlled. Police are there.
Yeah, and Kate, she's described as traumatized and looking much older than her years.
Scott's main focus, understandably, is just seeing her. He doesn't even bring up the baby at first.
He just needs to see her. The reality of her being alive.
And her first words to him?
An apology. She calls him Scotty.
A childhood nickname? After 11 years apart, that's powerful.
It is. It's like a tiny flicker of the person he knew, buried under whatever she's been through. A connection to the past.
Okay, so now we meet Meredith, Scott's current partner.
Mm-hmm. And she's a journalist. Turns out she had been looking into this local group back in Arcata, Love International.
Love International. What was their deal?
Well, they got noticed for helping college kids with addictions, supposedly for free. But then it got a bit weird when students started dropping out of school to, fully join them.
Okay, red flags maybe. And the leader?
The guy named Ray Fisher. He kept a really low profile, avoided the media.
And here's the twist. Kate, before she disappears, she actually interviewed this Ray Fisher for the local paper.
Exactly. Suddenly that old interview seems potentially very significant. Did something happen then? A connection made.
It definitely shifts the focus. Maybe it wasn't a random abduction.
And that's where the investigation starts to lead. The evidence begins pointing towards Kate leaving voluntarily to join Love International.
Scott just can't accept that. He's adamant Kate would never, ever willingly leave him and Abby.
You can't blame him.
Yeah.
After 11 years believing one thing, being told she chose to leave, that's a devastating blow. It contradicts everything he thought he knew about their life together.
But the book gives us Kate's perspective, too. Through flashbacks, we see she was struggling before she left.
Yeah, feeling dissatisfied, like something was missing. She talks about feeling a calling.
A calling, okay.
Yeah.
And Ray Fisher, he clearly had some influence on her.
Definitely. The flashbacks show his pull, the allure of what Love International seemed to offer her at the time.
And there's this really disturbing scene. Ray Fisher testing a disciple's loyalty with pills.
Mm-hmm. It shows his methods weren't exactly conventional, manipulative, coercive even. Gives you a real sense of the control he had.
So the investigators finally tell Scott what they found. Kate, in her traumatized state, kept saying Love International and Ray's name.
And eventually, Kate confirms it herself. She was with Ray, with Love International, all this time.
Scott must be reeling. He remembers Love International being involved in the search efforts way back when she first disappeared, offering help.
Right, which makes it seem so much more calculated, so deceptive. They were right there, potentially hiding her in plain sight.
And then the investigators use the word
Cult.
They suggest Love International isn't just a religious group, it's a cult.
And that label changes everything. It reframes Kate's experience, suggesting manipulation, control, maybe brainwashing. Were her choices ever truly her own after she joined?
Then comes the conversation between Scott and Kate. the really hard one.
Where the full truth comes out. She admits she left willingly to become a disciple.
And Abby, their daughter, overhears it.
Oh, that's brutal. Finding out your mother didn't just vanish, she abandoned you. The image she had of her mother is just shattered.
The flashbacks get darker, too. We see Kate getting deeper into Love International before she left. There's this cleansing session with Ray.
Yeah, and other disturbing practices start coming out. The level of control Ray Fisher had, and then there's the cellar.
The cellar.
Part of her discipleship, apparently.
Yeah.
Being locked in a cellar. It shows how harsh and isolating their methods were. It really paints a picture of abuse.
So, Kate's return. It's not a happy ending. It's the start of something incredibly difficult, unraveling years of lies.
Exactly. Reintegration is messy, painful. Av, especially, struggles. How do you reconcile the mom you worshipped with this woman who chose to leave?
The family tension must be immense, just grappling with this new, awful reality.
And the police investigation is still ongoing, focusing now on Ray Fisher and Love International.
Then Kate does something unexpected.
She sees Ray's picture online somewhere, and she actually contacts him.
No, even after everything.
It shows how deep the psychological hold still is. He still has influence over her.
So the police see an opportunity.
Yeah, they decide to set up a sting operation, a kidnapping sting, using Kate to lure Ray out.
But things go wrong.
Terribly wrong. Abby somehow gets caught up in it, unknowingly. Kate actually locks her in a van during the operation.
She locked her own daughter in a van. Wow.
It leads to a confrontation, not with Ray directly, but with his partner, a guy named Will. The police end up shooting Will. He dies.
And Kate.
She's taken into custody. The fallout for Abby and Scott is just devastating.
And they find out Ray Fisher isn't even his real name.
Right. Turns out he's Harold Allen Fitzgerald. Just another layer of deception.
The book ends. How does it leave things?
With a final meeting between Abby and Kate while Kate's in custody. It's intense. Abby is just horrified by her mother's state, still seemingly delusional, angry.
Yeah.
It's unsettling, not resolved at all.
So Kate's story, it's really a stark reminder, isn't it? That the truth behind someone disappearing can be so much more complicated and, frankly, more painful than you'd ever guess.
It really explores family, belief, how people can be manipulated, and just a long, long shadow the choices can cast.
Definitely makes you think. And again, if you want to explore more narratives like this, check out Mindful Moments on our YouTube channel and browse through our podcasts for other deep dives into compelling stories.
So the final question the book leaves you with, really, is what happens next. When someone comes back, but they're fundamentally changed by something awful.
Yeah, how does a family even start to rebuild trust after that level of deception? Can they?
It's a tough one.
We encourage you to subscribe to our podcast for more analyses like this one. If you know someone who enjoys these kinds of complex human stories, please share this with them.
And consider picking up When She Returned. There's a link in the show notes if you want to experience the full story yourself.
And most importantly, keep thinking critically about the stories you read, the stories you hear, and how they shape our view of the world and the people in it.